And we're back yet again. So, on tonight's episode of Deceptionline, we have a very interesting subject. Tonight, we will be diving into the saga that is Natureboy. So, let's get into it. As always, this video will be for entertainment purposes only. This is my opinion. Please do not mess with my video. If you enjoy content like this, be sure to follow this channel and my other channel, Deception Decode World. Carbonation was one of the many iterations of the cult that was led by Eligio Bishop, also known as Natureboy or Three God, from 2016 until his arrest in 2022. The group, which attracted mostly young Black followers through social media by promoting a Black utopia of veganism, and living in tropical climates, operated in countries including Costa Rica, Belize, Mexico, the US, Hawaii, Georgia, and many other places. Bishop was convicted in March of 2024. And very interesting, March the third month to 4 for your 6. So 3-6, I don't know, on charges including, false imprisonment and distributing revenge, after a former member attempted to leave the group. He is currently serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole at the Georgia Diagnostic and Classification State Prison, aka the worst prison in Georgia. The group's activities and Bishop's rise were detailed in the 2024 docu-series The Cult of Natureboy, which highlights the coercion, manipulation, and violence that characterized the organization's later years. So there's the documentary that's on Hulu, and there's also another documentary that's on YouTube. Shout out to Hood Horrors, who did a very, very in-depth, long documentary. That was much better than the one on Hulu, by the way. So I recommend go checking that out if you're more interested. But I'm about to give you my opinion on the topic. So Natureboy, he definitely had delusions of grandeur, I would say he's like the ultimate scammer. He was really one of the first streamers, kind of before streaming really became a thing. And of course, he went to the military for about a year. So many of these cult type people always either go to the military, allegedly. TikTok, that's some people's opinion, or they have someone they know, well, not someone they know, but someone in their family who went to the military, also like their dad or something, or their mom or something like that. So I find that to be very interesting because Natureboy said that he is a government agent and he works for the government, and that's why they never took him offline. He says that in episode 10 of The Hood Horrors. He says that out his own mouth, but he did say a lot of crazy stuff. He was very unhinged. Also, the hand signs that the group used, they constantly was throwing up like these 3-6 hand signs. Here he is throwing up this hand sign, the devil horns. So allegedly, Natureboy, when he first started out, he wanted them to have like a simpler life. But, when they came back to the States, he was getting them cell phones and iPads, and that kind of just went out the window. And actually, he started doing that when they was in Honduras, I believe. But, the majority of them was just like some freeloaders, like they was all running away from their responsibilities, running away from kids, running away from STDs, child. It was a mess. It's very tricky though, because some of the stuff he said had a little bit of truth to it. Like, is there stuff in the water? I don't know. Allegedly, there may or may not could be. TikTok, that's some people's opinion. Also, he called the USA Babylon, but he said it so much, it like became like sickening. You know what I mean? It was just like so annoying after a while. But was he completely wrong? I don't know. And then he made, that startling video where he was talking about his son, and I'm going to leave that one alone. You can look that up. And he also was seen like he was jealous of like babies, like when like the women would get pregnant, it's like he was jealous, and like he would be jealous of their relationship with other cult members, and he would give them to the other cult members and then take them back. Like, it was a lot of craziness, soap opera type stuff going on, comedy show skits. And then he admitted a lot of it was skits and stuff to like teach them the message, because he said something about how like it's like more entertaining, and like the more like I guess violent and stuff you are, the more views you get. And I mean, and like the more drama, the more views. And he's not wrong. But then I feel like that kind of just went out the window. And then he even admits that like he played multiple different characters, but and including pretending to be the Messiah. But I feel like his followers act like they didn't hear him say that. But who knows like what he told them on the phone. Child, it was just a mess. Yeah, but I definitely think that Velvet was one of the ringleaders. Some of them was a little challenged, but I don't think Velvet was. She knew what she was doing, and she would leave and come back and leave and come back. And then her father ended up passing away and stuff later on. And it's like, I felt like, that was kind of on her because he was definitely involved in carrying on online, going back and forth with Nature Boy on lives all the time. And then don't get me started on Young Pharaoh. He had told everyone the truth about Nature Boy from the jump. So if you was gonna go out there, and it was people going out there all the way up until the very end, and I'm just like, if you're gonna go join a cult, at least do your research, because it was very easy to find out all of the stuff that happened. But not one time did any of them have a job in that damn cult. Like they all was running from a job. Zoka's baby allegedly was sacrificed, allegedly. That's some people's opinion. Poor Malia had untreated STDs that led to organs starting to shut down. Nature Boy, he was going out and drinking, and he ain't plant not one fruit or vegetable. He would take out his wives, and that was like the incentive to get the wives, like to become one of his wives, because you could go out and you got to eat more food, and it was just a mess. At one point, Velvet joins another cult in Puerto Rico. Then Nature Boy tries to break in. They call the police on him. Nature Boy be having the women fight each other. He didn't really make the men fight, but towards the end, he was even beating on the men too. It was just making people go stand in corners, putting people in closets. Zolar, he was one of the main dudes who had been there for a long time. He had his own challenges. And I guess his last straw was when Nature Boy was in jail, and he told him to put his, to go stand in the corner while Nature Boy was in jail. And I guess that's when, he drew the line. But then Zolar also gets in trouble for trying to smuggle, what, in an airplane to the UK. Like, it's just so much going on in this. There's so much going on. And even when they went to the ATL, they actually started doing PPP loans. Nature Boy made a pass at his sister when they came to stay. Velvet ended up going with Solar. Call her Nature Girl at this point. So at one point, her and Solar, Velvet and Solar tried to be the new king and queen of carbonation while Nature Boy's locked up. It didn't go nowhere. Velvet tried to join another cult, but she didn't stay long after they found out that she had an STD. Nature Boy is now a Muslim in jail. Solar linked up with Jaguar Wright. That's when she threw her son's ashes and all that. Nature Boy also rejected a plea deal where he could have got out in 10 to 20 years. And he had already served 2 years, but of course he rejected it, and now he got life without parole. He started another cult in jail. Funny because he called it Paradise. I'm sure it is, because now he can get a husband. He has any excuse. The defense could have kept half them witnesses though, really all of them. It kind of hurt the case, to be honest. But was Nature Boy a warlock because he was haunting all these girls' dreams? And Aaron, aka True, I think his name was sounding like somebody granny when he wasn't on the when you didn't see his face, like when he was just talking. That kind of threw me off. So some people say he got too much time, some people say he got what he deserved. But I did notice the media was still following the ex cult members, so I definitely felt, so yeah, I did feel like they was being targeted. But one lady was unalived. Like I said, a baby was allegedly sacrificed. And then another girl who went home burnt down her house and I guess unalived her mom or something like that. Like, it was a lot going on. They definitely sent him to that jail for a reason, and he ends up getting shanked like 9 times. There definitely was no winners. The ex-cult members are forever scarred. Nature Boys got life without parole. And some of them is looking for their next cult leader. Child. But as always, this video was for entertainment purposes only. This is my opinion. Please do not mess with my video. If you enjoy content like this, be sure to like, share, and follow. But only if you're interested, because you never want to miss anything.